Good morning. Good morning, friends, guests, members of Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Catskills. Happy May Day, happy new moon, and happy International Workers' Day, May Day. It's a joy to gather with you this spring morning. Our minister is Reverend Bob Janice Dillon, and I'm Catherine Cattabiani, member of the UU Catskills Worship Committee, but I'm also the music director, so today's service will have lots of music. Today, we are on Zoom, and sometimes the schedule gets a little baffling as to when we are in sanctuary and when we're on Zoom. To clarify, the services that Reverend Bob leads are hybrid. They're at the sanctuary and on Zoom, because they require extra volunteer personnel and borrowed equipment. The other services like this one are on Zoom only. Special thank you this morning to Kathy Kasner, who is our technical host, and Jenny O'Grady-Giddy, who is our usher. Unitarian Universalism is a non-creedal religious faith that welcomes all seekers. So, whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life's journey, you're welcome here. Here at UU Catskills, we affirm that Black Lives Matter. We're a welcoming congregation for members of the LGBTQ community. We are a congregational affiliate of the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network, and we are active voices in the effort to address climate change. Our sanctuary stands on the ancestral homes of the Lenni Lenape. Thank you for joining us this morning. Please stay muted. If you're new, welcome. We encourage you to visit our website at uucatskills.org. And if you'd like to be added to the mailing list, you can send your email to the chat box or go online at uucatskills.org. You're invited to stay connected after the service. There'll be breakout rooms where you can visit with new and old friends in a virtual coffee hour. Visitors, you are welcome there. As you can see on the screen, one way that we stay in relationship with one another is our community circles. These are groups composed of people who live in the same area, who meet on Zoom and or in person. If you're interested in joining one, contact the office at uucatskills.org. If you would like to contact someone at UU Catskills, the contact list is shown on your screen. The board, the minister, the caring team, membership, religious exploration, and the administrator. As far as announcements, we encourage you to read the May newsletter, which, after a few technical challenges, should be coming out today. You'll find it on our website. Also, you will find news of upcoming events, including a sale of True Earth products, an ongoing food collection for the Blue Community Fridge, an ongoing collection of toiletries and other things to support the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network, grief support on Sunday evenings, and bedtime stories on Thursday evenings. All of this information is in your weekly update and your newsletter. In addition, there's a group planning a trip to Van Gogh's immersive experience in Schenectady this summer. They will be carpooling. The date will be selected based on the availability of the people who are participating. So please contact Erin Hilgart by this Friday, May 6th, if you're interested. Okay, we're happy you're here. Let us put aside all our concerns and enter into this sacred space and time. Our prelude this morning is played by Bill Toole, Bright May Nights by Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Opus 37B, number 5. Thank you. It's called Bright May Nights, which is appropriate because tonight is the new moon. It's not bright at all. Maybe later in the month. Please, if you have a chalice, we're going to light it now, and we're going to use the words that the children recorded years ago. It just seems a lovely way to begin a service about what we do for one another here at the congregation.
We light this chalice in grateful, loving community.
Even in the darkest of times,
its flame like paths
to courage, justice, and hope.
Years ago, we used to have an annual service to celebrate the members and the friends who had given of their time and talents during the year. It was called 3 Cheers for Volunteers. In light of the peculiar challenges to our congregation in the last few COVID-infused and haunted years, we thought it would be appropriate once again to conduct a service to express gratitude to everyone who has contributed to UU Catskills. And for those of you who are new, and especially those new members we welcomed last week, this is a great introduction to this congregation and its generous nature. Volunteerism forms the backbone of our congregation. It was Martin Luther King Jr. who said, "Everybody can be great because everybody can serve." You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. And you don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics in physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. Please join me for our unison affirmation. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations, inspired to bring our gifts of love to all living beings. May we know once again that we are not isolated, but connected in wonder and joy to mystery and miracle in the universe, in this community, and in each other. Our Not for Children Only is called The Drum. Once in India, there was a boy who wanted nothing more than to have a drum. His mother wanted more than to give him one. But though she worked hard and long every day, she couldn't afford to get him one. She could barely afford the food that they ate. So one day, as she walked home after a long day of working, she saw a stick, a perfect stick. And she bent down, she picked it up, and when she got home, she gave it to her son, saying, "This is for you. It's the best I can give you. I wish it were a drum." The boy was very happy with the stick. "Thank you, Amma," he said, and immediately began to tap his stick on everything in the house. Tira-kita-ta-ta, tira-kita-ta-ta. And this refrain is going to come around and around, so you can join me anytime you want to. Tira-kita-ta-ta, tira-kita-ta-ta. He walked down the road, hitting the fence, dancing to his drum beat. And before long, he came upon a neighbor who was sitting outside her cooking fire with tears streaming down her face. "What's wrong?" said the boy, full of concern. "It's my fire. The wood is too wet." The boy looked at his stick and said, "Here's my stick. It is dry." And he gave it to her. A fire flared up, and she was able to cook the naan that she had been preparing. In just a few minutes, she gave him a piece of naan. "Thank you," said the boy. But of course he wasn't hungry, so he just held on to it. And he walked down the road going, "Tira-kita-ta-ta, tira-kita-ta-ta." And before long, he came to a potter's house. Outside, a baby was wailing. "What's wrong?" said the boy, full of concern. And the potter's wife said, "My child, we've not been able to sell pots, and the child is starving." The little boy looked at his bread, at his naan, and he said, "I have some naan. I'm not hungry. You can have it." And the woman looked around and thought, what can I give to him? And she said, "Here's a pot, a big pot. Nobody buys the big pots." So the little boy walked down the road with his pot on his head going, "Tira-kita-ta-ta, tira-kita-ta-ta." Before long, he came to the river. And there he saw a washerman and a washerwoman quarreling. "Whatever is the matter?" asked the boy. "We broke our pot. We don't know what to do. Without it, we can't scrub the clothes properly." The little boy looked at the pot on his head. Take this. I don't need it." The washerman and washerwoman were so grateful that they gave him a coat. But he was warm. The little boy was warm, so he just flung it over his shoulder and walked down the road. Tira-kita-ta-ta, tira-kita-ta-ta. Now, let's see, who does he find next? He comes along to a bridge, and underneath the bridge is a man, and he's not wearing very many clothes at all. You can see this coming. And he says, "I have been robbed." And the little boy looks at the coat on his shoulder, says, "I don't need this. Here, you can have it." And the man says, "I have been robbed. I have a horse here, but I can't take care of it now, so perhaps you'd like it." Well, the boy didn't have much use for a horse either, but he picked up the reins and started walking down the road with his horse behind him. Tira-kita-ta-ta, tira-kita-ta-ta. And he came upon a group under a tree, and they all seemed to be miserable. There was a bridegroom and parents and a group of musicians. "Whatever is wrong?" said the boy. "Well, the groom can't go on to his wedding unless he rides on horseback, and the auspicious or the best time for the wedding is about to be over, and what are we going to do? His horse has not arrived." "Ah!" The boy led his horse over and said, "Please, take mine." Well, the family was very grateful, and they said, What can we give you? Little boy looked around, and he looked at the musicians, and he said, "May I have one of your drums?" Of course, they replied, and the boy walked home, beating his drum. Tee-da-kee-ta-ta-ta, 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 tee-da-kee-ta-ta-ta. "Mother," he cried when he walked in, "look what my stick has become." So that's a story of a very generous UU boy. No, he wasn't UU. A very generous boy. And he saw what was needed. He saw what he could do. And he did it. And that is what today's service is about. It's about recognizing the needs in our congregation, what you can do, and thanking everybody for the things that they do. So, we're going to have a song now that you all know. Please allow this song, when your heart is in a holy place, to take you into a quiet place. It's sung by the Unitarian Universalist Society of Grafton and Upton in Massachusetts.
When our heart is in the holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our hearts within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy
This morning, we are celebrating our volunteers, but we also need to acknowledge that we arrive at this service with much on our minds. Personal joys, sorrows, concerns at the news, the environment, and sometimes we are carrying grief. So for a brief moment, let us enter into a time of contemplation and compassion. Just come into the present. Feel your feet on the ground. Take a deep breath. Take this time to pause, to reflect, to allow your heart to be in a holy place, to acknowledge your place in the universe and gratitude for the time that we spend with one another. Take a deep breath. Listen to your inner self, your story from deep inside. Hold a moment for reflection as you bring to mind a sadness, a sorrow, a care, a loss, pain, or a disappointment that you might be carrying in your heart, or something that might be disrupting your ability to flourish. Sometimes the flame of the chalice seems dim and far off. Our sorrows are connected. Take a moment to lay them down and feel held by the community. Take another breath. A breath of gladness. Hold a moment for reflection as you bring to mind gratitude, joys, blessings, just the simple pleasures that might be bubbling up in your heart. May your spirits burn bright as the chalice itself. Feel held by this community and allow that knowledge to fill you, to carry you, to warm your heart. Give us strength as we carry on the journey ahead, balancing joy and sorrow. Blessed be. For our offering, today we are recognizing the voluntary gifts of members of UU Catskills, but our congregation is also sustained by generous financial gifts. For the month of May, we're sharing our plate with Rise Up Kingston, a grassroots organization dedicated to dismantling the structures of racism and oppression. You can see on your screen there are several ways to contribute to UU Catskills. Online at uucatskills.org, using Vanco. I thought we also had PayPal, but it's not up there. Or you can be old-fashioned like I am and mail a check. Our offertory today is Spring Song by Robert Schumann, Opus 68, number 15, played by our own Bill Toole. Thank you, Bill. We are now going to begin with a film strip Who remembers film strips? Some of you remember those educational film strips from elementary school. The teacher would ask one student to pull down the blinds, another one to pull down the screen, and another one to turn out the lights. And then the teacher would turn on the film strip projector, the fan would roar, and the first frame of the film strip would appear on the screen, and the instructor would then turn on a 33 RPM record containing the narration. At the appropriate point, a tone would sound, signaling the teacher to turn the knob, advancing to the next frame. So as a tribute to technology of yore, I will give you a film strip.
This is a pothole. This is also a pothole. As is this. And those of you who approach Sawkill Road from the south may recognize these potholes, shallow but lethal. This is crocodile cracking. Potholes are caused by the expansion and contraction of the rain and snow that seep through the crocodile cracks. When water freezes, it expands, lifting the pavement, which bends and fractures. As the weight of cars and trucks pass over the weak spot in the road, pieces of the undermined roadway weaken, creating potholes. Drivers react in different ways. Some people just complain and drive on. Some take advantage of it. Some try to drive through it. Some write a song.
I read the news today, oh boy. 4,000 holes in Blackburn, Lancashire. And though the holes were rather small, they had to count them all. Not enough.
But some see the pothole and do something about it. Sometimes in a conventional manner, and sometimes creatively, like this. Or this. Or this. Or this. or this. This was a pothole.
Thank you, class. You may raise the blinds and turn the lights back on. Today's service honors people who have recognized the metaphorical potholes at UUCC and have sometimes even seen the crocodile cracking before the hole appears. And they've done something about it. Of course, since COVID struck, many of the holes have shifted and appeared in new places, and marvelously, many of you have stepped up to do what has to be done. Special thanks to those who have filled the COVID-caused holes, and those of you who have paved whole new roads since 2020. But let me tell you a few inspiring stories from our history about people who recognized a pothole and volunteered to do something about it. Story 1. Once upon a time, some years ago, we put up a flat screen to hang behind the speaker in the sanctuary and to be used to show lyrics and transmissions from the great beyond. Judith Chase, sitting in the congregation, thought, I didn't come here to look at a screen. She considered, what can I do about it? I have a big loom. I could weave something. The minister wanted to cover it with a heavy quilt, but several other women spoke up, and they formed a committee, because we're UUs, that's what we do. They formed a committee to discuss the design and the colors. They chose hues to match the walls and red to pick up the carpet and the chairs. And Judith wove the stunning hanging of cream, scarlet, and green that now covers our screen when it isn't in use. And then, to complete the picture, she wove the altar cloth that covers that the chalice rests on. As Judith says, if you see something that needs to be done, that you would like to see happen, do it. Story 2. Years ago, the ever-vigilant Margaret Sellers recognized that the Unitarian Universalist Association offered a lot of support for large congregations, but she saw that small congregations like ours had unique difficulties. So working with the Poughkeepsie Fellowship, she went to General Assembly and presented a plea which became a group specifically geared to helping lay-led and small societies, which had difficulties with leadership and getting past 100 members. Margaret saw the pothole and realized that not only did we need to fill it, but that other fellowships did as well. There are many other stories. Bobby Katz recognized a need for a resting place for loved ones' cremains and contributed the seed money and impetus for our memorial garden. And Carl Beard stepped in and offered his expertise and muscle to create and maintain it. Wanda and Stan Goldstein recognized the people upon release from prison, were at 6s and 7s, and created a resource for them, coming back to Ulster County, which several of our members continue to update. And some of you may be reminded of potholes filled by people who are no longer with us. Bill Bahuniak, who planted our flowers, and a Johnny Appleseed tree to beautify our property. Franklin Grapel, who thought that we needed a piano and purchased a used one and funded the tuning and maintenance for years. Chris Countryman, who recognized we needed a professional-looking pulpit and created the blonde wood pulpit and matching altar table that we still use. The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. That was said by Nelson Henderson, who it turns out is a farmer in Manitoba. So there are countless others of you who did and do what must be done. There's a song coming up.
Oh, well, I learned as a child there's two ways to see the world as it is and the way it could be. Now, some people say that's just not my problem. Some people do what must be done. Though they see the hole in the fabric that must be sewn. They see the way blockaded and they roll back the stone. They see the day beyond the horizon and they do what must be done. Yes, some people do what must be done. Well, they do what must be done. They see the day beyond the horizon and they do what must be done. Now I've seen the toll taken, the tears that were shed. I've seen the journey started and the ripples spread. Still people say that's just not my problem. Some people do what must be done. Now they see the hole in the fabric that must be sewn. They see the way blockaded and they roll back the stone. They see the day beyond the horizon and they do what must be done. Yes, some people do what must be done. Well, they do what must be done. They see the day beyond the horizon and they do what must be done. Yes, some people do what must be done. Well, they do what must be done. They see the day beyond the horizon and they do what must be done. Oh, they see the day beyond the horizon and they do what must be done. Oh, they see the day beyond the horizon and they do what must be done.
Wow. Author Sherry Anderson said volunteers don't get paid, not because they're worthless, but because they're priceless. Gifts. It's not just recognizing the work that must be done, but identifying what each one of us can do. I was on the board once, asked to complete a term for someone, and I said yes. That was a big mistake. That was a pothole that I did not fill well. But we are grateful for those who have found where to share their gifts. And mentioning no names, we are grateful for those who can organize or can strategize, who've got an eye for color, who don't mind working alone or work well with others, who don't mind cleaning up, who enjoy being part of the service, who know about plumbing and gutters, who know about technology and Zoom, God help us, who greet newcomers, who can chair a meeting, who can set up and tear down, who can mow and weed, who rake the mulch, who bring their rakes and gloves to work days, who make us visible in the wider community, who make coffee and tea, who ice cookies, who dream, who make it happen, who find what they can do, who share their gifts. William Shakespeare said, "The meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose of life is to give it away." The next piece of music is a hymn written in 1862, a favorite of Abraham Lincoln, which expresses this idea of your gift and what you can do. It's your mission. I didn't write this down, but it's S.M. Granis. It was written by, and it is sung by our own Lydia McCaw.
That was pretty good.
If you cannot on the ocean sail among the swiftest fleet, rocking on the highest billows, laughing at the storms you meet, you can stand among the sailors anchored yet within the bay. You can lend a hand to help them as they launch their boats away, as they launch their boats away. If you are too weak to journey up the mountain swift and high, you can stand within the valley while the multitudes go by. You can chant in happy measure as they slowly pass along. Though they may forget the singer, they will not forget the song. They will not forget the song. If you have not gold and silver ever ready to command, if you cannot towards the needy reach an ever open hand, you can visit the afflicted or the erring, you can weep, you can be a true disciple sitting at the Savior's feet, sitting at the Savior's feet. If you cannot in the conflict prove yourself a soldier true, if where fire and smoke are thickest, there's no work for you to do. When the battlefield is silent, you can go with careful tread. You can bear away the wounded. You can cover up the dead. You can cover up the dead. Do not then stand idly waiting for some greater work to do. Fortune is a lazy goddess, she will never come to you. Go and toil in any vineyard, do not fear to do or dare. If you want a field of labor, you can find it anywhere. You can find it anywhere.
This is our beloved community. It's not just the Sunday services, but the committees and the teams that sustain us, the groups that define us, the outreach that expresses our message to the greater community. Service begins with the recognition of the worth of the community, of the congregation, and our desire to lift it up. In last week's service, Reverend Bob said that each of us has a glory that is an integral part of the whole in this curious, remarkable, ever-changing group that is UU Catskills. And I'd like to thank you. If I do not speak of your contribution, it's only because few of us truly know the breadth, the depth, and the variety of involvement you have all given to UU Catskills. So please join me. This is participatory, and I'm watching you all. You're going to join me as we say thank you to those glorious integral parts of our whole. I will express gratitude, ending with, for them, and you will all say, we are grateful. For our UU Catskills President, Vice President, Treasurer, Secretary, assiduous members of the board, who with wisdom, patience, and Robert's Rules of Order hold us together. For them, we are grateful. For our committee members of the Buildings and Grounds, our Memorial Garden, our Committee on Shared Ministry, for them, we are grateful.
Grateful.
For the members of the Finance Committee who understand and manage the money, for the people who wrote and got us that Chalice Lighters grant, for those studying our 5-year plan, the Website Communication Committee, the Membership Committee, for them, we are
grateful.
For our musicians, Religious Exploration, Lay Pastoral Care Team, for them, we are
grateful.
For the people who are going to step up and fill the vacancies in the Fundraising Committee, the Pledge Drive Committee, Capital Campaign and Leadership Development, who are thinking at this very moment, hey, there's a pothole I can fill. For them, we are
grateful.
For those who look outside our congregation, widening our circle, make us visible, members of the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network, the Social Justice Committee, the Climate Action Team. For them, we are grateful. For those who coordinate Amateur Scientist Group, the Art Gallery, the Folk Guild, Buddha Cats, Community Circles, Lunch Bunch, Women's Conversation Circle. For them, we are
grateful.
For the Caring Committee, who reach out to help us when we are in need, who, in the midst of February's ice storm, made contact and supported those without power. The Emergency Preparedness and Safe Congregation Response teams, for them, we are
grateful.
For the teams that have cleaned and refurbished the farmhouse, worked on the ceiling in the minister's office, fixed the squeak in the platform, the woman who proofs and improves Laurie's newsletters and updates, for those who cut the wood which fell during the ice storm, who covered the aged hymn books, recycle and collect compost, for those who just show up. For them,
we are grateful.
The Membership Committee and our tech team who, in changing circumstances, stepped up and contributed time, talent, and their own equipment to allow us to reach out and Zoom and hold hybrid services. For their depth of skill, their generosity, their patience, for them, we are
grateful.
For our new members, for them, we are
grateful.
For those who wear multiple hats, who challenge themselves to try something new, who are generous of spirit without fanfare, who hold our UU principles close, for all those who contribute all that enhances the life of this congregation, for them, we are
grateful.
So please join the Unitarian Church of Montreal as we all sing Fire of Commitment. Keep your wits about you, because they sing it very fast.
From the line of days remembered, burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the Lord commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way. From the stories of a living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when a hunger and a passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice filled by a courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when a hunger and a passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
One of the potholes created when we moved to Zoom was musical. Lacking live music, UU congregation stepped up and created these marvelous, fabulous YouTubes. An unpredictable blessing that we have taken advantage of this morning. Our closing words will be sung, and they come from the UU Fellowship of Redwood, California. This production shows that if you cannot find somebody to sing tenor, you can do it yourself. The song is Go Lift It Up.
Go lift it up, love bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day. Oh, lift it up, love bless your way. Moonlight, starlight, guide your journey into peace and the brightness of day. Of day.
Please join me as we say the words on the screen and extinguish our chalices. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. Go lift it up. And stay tuned while Kathy creates breakout rooms. Everyone is invited.